President Trump's decision announced today to end DACA, President Obama's temporary protection for young undocumented immigrants. 800,000 or more people brought here as children. Many of them have spent their whole lives in America. This is the only country many have known. Here's what the president had to say about them late today.
I have a great heart for the folks we're talking about, a great love for them. And people think in terms of children, but they're really young adults. I have a love for these people, and hopefully now Congress will be able to help them and do it properly.
He loves them, he said. Well, today the president showed his love by putting the fate of all these people in the hands of Congress, people who not only could not pass the DREAM Act, which would have covered them years ago, but as CNN's Jake Tapper put it today, could not agree on what to have for lunch. The president passed the buck to Congress while offering no ideas of his own for what lawmakers should do, which is not surprising given the president's track record so far, but it does run counter to the way he portrayed himself during the campaign. Back then, he was short on details, but seemed to claim to have a plan.
We are going to deal with DACA with heart. The DACA situation is a very difficult thing for me because, I love these kids. I love kids.
Should dreamers be worried?
We love the dreamers. We love everybody.
Well, we should point out today the president didn't announce the repeal of DACA himself. He gave that job to his long-suffering attorney general.
The program known as DACA that was effectuated under the Obama administration is being rescinded. We are people of compassion and we are people of law. But there is nothing compassionate about the failure to enforce immigration laws.
Well, the Attorney General announced the program is going to end in March. Effective today, no new applications accepted, and only those people whose status expires between now and March will be eligible to renew. The bottom line, unless Congress acts, hundreds of thousands of young people who are American in just about all respects but a piece of paper would be subject to deportation. For all the president's talk of love, CNN has obtained a background document sent by the White House to offices on Capitol Hill, and it states, and I quote, "The Department of Homeland Security urges DACA recipients to use the time remaining on their work authorizations to prepare for and arrange their departure from the United States." Of course, Congress might suddenly come up with a solution for these dreamers, but the president himself seems to be trying to have it both ways, saying he wants to be compassionate, but not leading from the front on an issue his base is not sympathetic to. Remember, this president ran on his ability to make deals, to bring competing sides together and hammer out plans. It's something he talked about time and time again on the campaign trail.
I'm going to make the great deals.
I am going to make great deals for our country. I've built an extraordinary business on relationships and deals that benefit all parties involved, always.
I make deals. I negotiate. Everybody wants me to negotiate. That's what I'm known as a negotiator. I'm so anxious to negotiate. Nobody can out-negotiate these deals. I will make a great deal and lots of great deals for the American people. We don't make great deals anymore, but we will once I become president.
Making great deals, something the president considered a strength long before taking office. Here's a tweet from a few years ago. Quote, "Deals are my art form. Other people paint beautifully or write poetry. I like making deals, preferably big deals. That's how I get my kicks." Well, today the only kick was to the security and certainty of hundreds of thousands of people living here and a punt to Congress. During the campaign, the president did pledge to end DACA, and he pledged to treat dreamers with heart. He also said he faced a deadline today for doing something or face a lawsuit from 10 states' attorneys general. Some today used terms like boxed in to describe his situation. No good choices. Keep it honest, though, whatever you think of DACA or Congress's proper role, whether you're sympathetic to the president's dilemma or not, it's hard to argue this was his only option. Might be more accurate to say this was the only option available that's also consistent with the way this president has operated so far, which is to grab credit when he can and deflect responsibility for failing to live up to promises he's made. Remember the moment when the White House passed their version of an Obamacare replacement? He threw a victory celebration in the Rose Garden. And when the Senate then failed to pass their version of it, this.
I just want them to get repeal and replace done. All I hear is repeal and replace. And then I get there and I said, where's the bill? I want to sign it first day. And they don't have it.
Well, again, just like DACA, whatever you think of the Affordable Care Act, the president's playbook is pretty similar, and so is the pitch.
Real change begins immediately with the repealing and replacing of the disaster known as Obamacare.
Repeal it and replace it.
Repeal and replace.
Repeal and replace
Obamacare. We're going to repeal it. We're going to replace it. We're going to get something great. Repeal it, replace it, get something great. We're going to kill it. Let it die. Let it die. And we're going to come up with something much, much better. You're going to have such great health care at a tiny fraction of the cost, and it's going to be so easy.
Healthcare, DACA promised to end it to replace it with something better, then reassurances to anyone who might be hurt, then leave it to lawmakers to work it out. So much for the art of the deal.